It's all over in Champaign, Michigan. Rolls to the outright Big Ten championship. How about that? One of their most impressive performances of the year. It takes place in Champaign. 84-70 is the final welcome into the Michigan basketball postgame live show. We're here after every Michigan basketball game. Michigan 27-2. They're the outright Big Ten champs, and they did it in impressive fashion. This is how you handle your business when you are a big dog like Michigan. You go in there and you just put the smack down. Their business is winning, and they just took control. They were up 7 at the half, and then they pushed it up. I think Illinois got it down to 6, but then Michigan pushed it up to double figures. And then it was what you could see was what you have seen all year long. Remember back in 23 for the football team, they would say it was a boa constrictor. Michigan's depth in their front line, it just wears on you. There was a point in the second half when I'm watching, and Morez Johnson Jr. will talk a lot about him going back to Illinois. He was excellent in the first half, and there was a point where I'm looking and say, well, they're not really playing Morez Johnson Jr. a lot. Well, he was just rested, and he comes in. He's totally fresh, and he comes in, and that's what Michigan can do. They can just rotate their guys, their bigs, and they're throwing them at you, and Illinois couldn't do anything about it. Those Fighting Illini fans, I saw a video of them earlier today. They showed a camera shot of the fans waiting outside the State Farm Center for the game. I said, they've been waiting here over 8 hours. They'll wait over 8 hours. And I know they were fired up. They had won their last 9 games against Michigan. And they never had a chance in this one. Maybe the first couple minutes, but then it was all Michigan. All Michigan, and they're on to March. They get all this done before the calendar turns on Sunday. That's impressive. It's an impressive team. And what you're witnessing is a great club. We'll see if they're able to do it when it really counts in March. Michigan was just a 1.5 favorite in this game. They win it by 14. Probably could have won it by 20 plus. And they are the Big Ten regular season champs outright with this victory in Champaign. Morez Johnson Jr., they had his, they had a fat head, had it blown up, had a clown face on him and everything else. As Rafferty and Beniti pointed out, he was unfazed, and that's Morez Johnson. He's strictly business, and he showed. I thought when he hit that triple in the first half, I'm a Fighting Illini fan. Where was that? What's going on here? Oh man, it's tough when you have a kid from the home state, and he's a big time recruit, and you get him, and then he comes in and shows promise as a freshman, and you're thinking, oh man, I can't wait to see him, and then he's gone. That is tough. That's a tough one, but that's about all from Illinois fans. Illinois fans love to play the game out on Twitter, and man, they're vocal. They talk a lot of trash, and they want, this is demanding that, Michigan shows them respect and everything else. But that didn't happen tonight. Michigan put the big leg down on them. Wolverines big, just wearing them down. Guys come in, they're fresh as daisies. The game was over with just under 7.5. You could pick a lot of spots. There was a couple. Mara had an and one right before this that I thought, this is looking like it's over. But when Trey McKinney airballed a 3, he came back. It might have been on the very next possession. He had a topside triple and he drained it. And then he got, I think on the very next possession, another topside. He drained that one, back-to-back threes, and it was 72-54 up 18. Michigan wasn't losing that with 7 and change on the clock. And, they're they're the champs, and we'll see if they cut down the nets there or not. Looking at the first half, it was 38-31. Got a picture of LJ Kaysen on the screen. We'll have to talk about him a little bit. But Morez Johnson Jr. had a baker's dozen in the first half. Nobody was really dialing it in from downtown. That's Illinois' game, and they couldn't make one. Michigan wasn't really making one either. I guess they both made three. 3 of 12 for Michigan in the first half from the long line, 3 of 14 for the Illini. But then LJ Kaysen, who came in and you had Cadeau getting into a little bit of foul trouble. He had 2 that actually ended up putting him back in. Wagler was out there with 2 in the first half as well. Hey, there's some coaches never put guys out there. Dusty put Mara out there in the first half when he had 2 against Duke, and he picked up his 3rd. Here's Dusty going right back in a big game, putting Cadeau out there with 2. He didn't pick up his 3rd, but when Kaysen came in, his first shot was a triple. Boom, he buried it, and he was making plays all over the place. And then he had a sweep between the legs, backwards bounce pass, and there was no contact, but he got banged up, came up limped off, and you're thinking you never like to see somebody get hurt. You never like to see anybody get hurt in a non-contact. We've seen it a million times. He's over on the bench for a minute, and then he leaves to go to the locker room before halftime, and the party is dampened a little bit, thinking, okay, hopefully LJ is going to be okay. And you come out in the second half. I didn't see him right away on the bench, and then he was on the bench, and then he came back in. You're like, woo, all right, that was a disaster averted. But then pretty quickly, I'm guessing here, re-aggravated whatever injury he had as he gave it a go. And then he went, and they didn't need him. And I would say the good news was it a good news that he came back in and was able? Yeah, because it could have been a cramp. We'll also, I'm sure you'll have some speculation on the injury. I'll speculate on it myself. So I think it was good news that he came back in. Obviously not good news that he had to leave and it looked like, he was banged up. But the other part I was going to say that I thought was, good news is that you're watching him over on the bench, and it's not like he just sat there and had ice packs on his knees or his ankles and was just sitting there. No, he was popping up. He was congratulating everyone. I saw him walking through the handshake line. Now, that doesn't mean he's 100%. I'm not saying that. We'll see what Dusty has to say about him after the game. Michigan also has time now as well. I know that a lot of people are like, nope, we don't need him until the second round of the tournament. All right, yeah, maybe. Maybe. That is a long time. And you could be right, but he could play this Thursday. Oh, look at today's Friday. They get Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 5-6 days. If it's, we'll see. We got to, me saying that, or saying that, he's going to be good to go Thursday. I don't know. You don't know. It would be good news if he was ready to go on Thursday. I do know that a lot of fans, when Yaks had his calf, they wanted him to sit out. And it did seem like that gave him a little bit of problems more than what he was letting on. I remember that Dusty even said, yeah, it's the one part when you only got a guy for 1 year, you don't really know everything when it comes down, Yaks. I don't know what, Yaks wanted to play and discretion, the better part of valor here. He knows LJ pretty good. So I don't know. We'll see about that. Again, they don't need him at Iowa. Would it be nice to have him against Michigan State a week from this Sunday, the season finale? Yes, it would. Would it be nice to have him then after the triple bye? So what's that, make it a Friday? The following Friday for the Big Ten tournament? Yes, it would be very nice to have him there for the 3-game run to see if they could do the double-double. which they've never done. I want that. I want to see that. I'm looking forward to winning the Big Ten tournament, Big Ten regular season champs outright, Big Ten tournament champs back to back. Yeah, I want to see them beat Michigan State, sweep the Spartans, so all of that. But I don't know about Kason. We are going to have to. I don't know. I've said it twice. I'm not going to say it again. Wait and see. Morez Johnson Jr. gets some of the feedback. Look at the box score as well. The story of this game, Morez Johnson Jr. in the first half, and then Mara in the second half. Mara was sometimes you watch Michigan and you watch Mara, you say, this guy's just unstoppable. Oh, big hook like Kareem down on the right post. Other times, he's just give it to him in the middle. Nobody's around him. He's finger rolling. In for a bucket. He can, he's somewhere around like where the NBA semicircle is in the paint. Sometimes he's just in there and guys throw lobs to him and it seems like he's just falling to the back. Dunk! He'll throwing it down with two hands, reverse. He makes it look like those little Nerf rims that you played on when you were a kid. That's how effortless and how easy it looks for the chef sometimes. Big Mara cooking up his game. He was dominant, unstoppable. The Fighting Illini, they got some bigs. Those dudes from Croatia and everything else, and they could shoot from outside. They can't play defense on. They couldn't stop Mara. He owned him. And then Yax was just doing his thing. He's in the first half. I was looking at him, and he wasn't even looking at the basket. He's looking for set up guys, looking to pass. But then he's working hard on defense, and he's getting and ones, he's knocking in threes. Yak's something else. Michigan's front line was, they are the best. I don't know if I've seen every front line. I've heard enough national commentators say that Michigan has the best front line. They have a great front line. They might have one of the best front lines ever. When you look at it, it's just they wear you down the way they rotate, and then they not only are they wearing you down, they're coming in. Guys are fresh. You could see it, how it was playing out there. This is now Michigan runs the record to 20. Is this 27-2? All right. Did I update that? Is that updated right? Because I've got 27. That'd be nice if I updated it, and I think I did. I just want to double check. I like saying the correct information. There's been one or two times this year that I've said something that was incorrect, and then I'll be sitting around afterwards and say, yeah, darn it. Michigan is 27-2. Overall, best start in school history and Big Ten champs. Let's roll and get some of these in on the feedback, and we'll look at the box score. Don is congratulating Michigan on the outright Big Ten regular season title. Cy Homer says now if they would have played like that at Duke, in DC against Duke, I hear what you're saying there. Duke probably had something to do with how they played. The thing about Duke, I'm glad that they played that game. I've talked to a number of my friends who they don't want to see that game. Oh, I don't want to be playing Duke. Why did they have to play Duke? The guys tonight, the broadcasters say, oh, it's great for basketball. Hey, yeah, I'm all for, great for basketball. It's great for Michigan. Getting that experience to play a game, an out-of-conference game against a team that you could see in the championship game with the different balls. You got the refs, the intensity, everybody acting like this was going to be the game of the year and all of that. Michigan, they don't play their best, but they have learned from that for sure. I think it paid dividends tonight for that. So it was fun to watch. Michigan dominating. When it rains, it pours in Champaign-Urbana, Champaign. Jim Judd says, now that's how it's done outright before March. It is Big Ten champs. Here's another one. Go Big Ten champs. Everybody's just, enjoying on a Friday night, your figurative victory cigar when it comes down. Don, not totally enjoying everything, saying our depth may be a little less if LJ is not healthy. True. Well, let's look at the bright side, and there's a lot of bright side to that injury. So there we go. It's a kind of effort I love watching. Sambo worried about Kaysen. That's understandable. How bad is the injury for Kaysen? I've been over that. Maybe at the end I'll re-speculate on all that. Actually, I'll see if there's any update from Dusty towards the end of the game. Could you remind me about that? Okay. Kaysen at the end. Write it down. Okay. Kaysen. Injury spec. Don't let me forget that. BK's happy with it. Don't play till next Thursday. Okay, these just all came in before I started because I have already been all over this. Great game. Glad to see Ade, Yaks, and Morez have a good game. There you go. Matthew, he's one of the few, I'm going to say the proud, that watches this show on Facebook. Facebook doesn't get quite the love of YouTube, and of course you can't listen to the podcast after the fact does well, but you're not listening to that live. Twitter, it happens. People in and out, scrolling. And Ty Black is impressed. Come on. You should be impressed, Ty. What would you not be impressed about tonight? Let's go through all the players, because I think maybe I was impressed with everyone. I mean, how many times can you say that? I don't know. I was impressed with everybody out there. Let's see if we can get the box score up there first. Oh, there it is. Took a second, but it's up there. I was really impressed with Ade Mara. Oh, my gosh. One of these, they'll do the NBA draft stuff, and they'll throw up clips, and they'll throw at least 3 or 4 of the highlights from tonight's game. Oh, the hook, the block shots. And he is 2 blocks, had 19 points, 5 boards, 2 feeds, 8 of 9 from the floor, 3 of 3 from the charity stripe. And Rapt was saying that he came in, he was knocking a couple down, had 1 personal foul and 2 blocks. The chef will be cooking up some paella for all those downtrodden Fighting Illini fans. Morez Johnson Jr., his return to Champaign-Urbana, a success. How about it? All those fans, that's got to be tough. Sure, you're a Michigan fan. You don't want to give anything to Fighting Illini fans. They're jerks online. They crying about whether this is a rivalry or not. Michigan seemingly always has the upper hand on them. They did tonight, 2021, when they were crying about the COVID rules, and Michigan won the Big Ten title outright. And, I remember the Flying Illini from 1989. They were number 1 team in the country. Stephen Bardo was on that team. Marcus Liberty. They really had a squad. They thought they were going to win. They beat Michigan twice in the regular season. Then you get to the Final Four, and Michigan, Terry Mills is on the radio call. A little bit of a step back before there was step backs. Mills launches a 3 just off the front rim. There's Sean Higgins. Takes it, puts it back with less than a second to go. Woo! Michigan wins it. And so they crush the orange dreams of going to a championship game. And then, of course, Michigan wins it 2 nights later over Seton Hall in overtime. MJJ, 19 points, 11 boards, and assists. How about 6 of 8 from the stripe? Knocked down that 3. That was big. Big just for the taking the air out of the sails of the Illini fans. Johnson had that steal on the sideline as well when he went up, got fouled. Yaks, look at that front. Look at it. Add it up, someone. 19, 19, and 16, and then a 5, 11, and 7. You could go a long time in a game of this magnitude and look for a more impressive frontline trio numbers, but you won't get it. Look at that. Yaks with a couple blocks, 16 points, 7 boards, 4 assists. Very efficient, 6 of 11. 2 of 6 from downtown, made both of his free throws. Look at those guys' free throws. Yaks made both of his. Mara made all 3 of his. 6 of 8 from Morez Johnson Jr. Amazing. Cadeau tried that jam at the end. I like Cadeau. People are hard on him. You're hard on point guards. Look at it. If you grew up in the state of Michigan, you had Isaiah Thomas, and then you had, Mr. Big Shot, and now you got Cade. So you're used to this, great point guard play. When Michigan won the national championship, Ramil Robinson, before that, Gary Grant, great, Trey Burke. So you're going to be really hard. You're hard on the goaltenders. If you're from Michigan, you're hard on quarterbacks. You're hard on relief pitchers. And you are hard on point guards. And, Cadeau, so you're going to be pretty hard on him. He was all right. 7 points, 3 boards, 5 assists. Can Michigan win a national championship with Elliot Cadeau? I ask you the question. I'm going to answer it myself. Yes. Yes, because they're not completely reliant on Elliot Cadeau. LJ Kaysen, we're going to get to him again coming up, has been a revelation. Cadeau, Kaysen. And, you say you win with guards in March. Well, yeah, you have Namari Burnett. He can get hot. And he's been in a little cold spell. So you have those two. But you got Trey. You got Gale. You got Kaysen. That's 5 guards. That's deep. Now, almost all of them didn't play well against Duke. Is that going to happen? I mean, that can happen. But I think Michigan can win with the guard play that they have. Okay, there's Burnett. He's the one that you can say, he didn't play really well. I would agree. Kaysen was great. Then he got hurt. Trey McKinney, back-to-back triples, was the final nail in the coffin of the Fighting Illini. Hey, come on, Cheddar, 3-3. Let's go. There's, and so Roddy Gale. Not so hot. But look, Roddy Gale played 10 minutes. If Roddy Gale is putting zeros up and is 1 for 4 from the floor, he might not even play 10 minutes moving forward. If you play well, and if you have been trending up, you're going to get bigger minutes. Trey McKinney, 22. If Kaysen didn't get hurt, he would have probably played close to 30 minutes. But Gale, you don't have to sit around saying, "Oh, Gale, he's not going to play that much." Hopefully, he does play better. I know people are riding him. I get it. Let's go back and take some more feedback. Oh, let's first get our Maize and Blue review player of the game. I went with Ade Mara. All day, a day. Every day, but especially in the second half for the chef who cooked up the 19 points. And I get it. You say, I'd give it to Morez Johnson Jr. He had 19 too, and he was big in the first half. Sure. It's tough. It's tough to, when you have the responsibility. picking the player of the game, because people would say, why wouldn't you give it to Morez? I struggled. I thought about it all, and I went with it. Just had to go, and once what am I going to do? Go back? No, Mara was great. And in the stretch, when it was the game, if you say the game was on the line, I don't know. I watched and I thought, this guy's having an out of body experience. He's unstoppable. That's why I gave him the player of the game. So there you go. Ty Black was not sure we could win at Illinois. It's been a tough place to play. Yeah, Michigan lost their last 9 games against Illinois. Matthew wants to rest Kaysen until the last game of the year. Well, you don't know what the injury is, so I get it. You can say you have a luxury here. It's a big night when Big John is weighing in. And you can just do this all night. You ask conference champs. People like being the champs. I'm going to say something stupider than that. No. That's it. Ty wants the actual words. Walk your drop, take over your drop. Yes, everybody's hoping that Kaysen is all right. Did it seem like Mara played more minutes in this game, and why doesn't he play more minutes? He was such a factor. Well, Mara in this game played, here's the minutes. He played 22 minutes. Now, I have to look at Yaks played 39. Morez played 32. Mara only played 22. So, no, I would say that's, in fact, why don't I go ahead and look at it? I was going to speculate on how many minutes. I'm going to say that's under his minutes. But I don't have to speculate because I can just look at the stats because I have them at my fingertips here. Stats. And if I look towards the minutes, Ade Mara plays 22 and a half minutes per game. Today, he played 22 minutes, so that is right on. Cadeau usually plays 25. He was in foul trouble. He played 27. Remember, Kaysen was banged up, so he had to play a little bit more. Morez usually plays 24 minutes. He played 32. He was going back home. Yaks played 39 minutes. For Yaxel Lendenborg, who averages 29 minutes a game, so 10 more. They're trying to win the Big Ten championship. They did win the Big Ten championship. So there it is. Can't get through a show. Refs like to call soft fouls on Mara, so he has to sit a lot because of foul trouble. Yeah, and I think that a fresh Mara is you don't want to, you get him out there 30 plus minutes, even if he wasn't in foul trouble. Is he going to be as effective if he plays 20 or 22 like he is? They, believe me, they are looking at these minutes, and my guess is that against Iowa, the minutes are going to be spread out a little bit more. I don't think the team should freak out if Mara gets a foul or two early. Let him play. Keep those mismatches and wear them out. Well, it was probably a blessing that he got the 2 against Duke and then got a third, because the second one was the cheap one against Boozer. The first one he didn't block out, and it's one of those you just get. They just start blowing the whistles. You're going to pick up some fouls. You say that until he picks up the third, and then you got to, you rest him. I don't know. I'm not freaking out, but he's obviously a very important cog in this. The physical game against Duke helped Michigan. I agree with that 100%, Manny. 100%. Is that Gordie Howe taking a slap shot in that picture? I like that. AMR says it's the best defense all year. Mara exploded and Rez had a double-double. I'll buy it. I'm sorry. Illinois was the number one rated Ken Pom offensive efficiency team in the country. Number one. And Michigan held him down. Morez was elite. Agreed. Yaks locked down Wagler. Great D on his part. I agree with that too. Just keep, everybody wants their, it's understandable. Rest Kaysen. Rest him. BK says, I think the big stage against Duke made U of M play timid and slower, play to our strengths. Well, the big stage, they had a number of guys that did not play well. And obviously Mara did have the foul trouble. Duke had a lot to do with that. But when you know it's just going to be all over, and you say, boy, I'd love another shot. You want another shot at Duke. Ted wants to talk Michigan State. He says Michigan beat Michigan State on the road, then Purdue on the road, now Illinois on the road. I do not know if this has ever happened before, but they are awesome. Yeah, I'm going to just say probably not. That's a pretty good point. Probably not. Morez is a beast. AMR can't remember since 89 being this excited about a team. These guys eclipsed the Fab Five. Now, hold on a second. And the Fab Five made, two back-to-back runs. Let's see. It's all about the tournament. It always is about the tournament. These guys have set themselves up. They put themselves in such beautiful position, and they're collecting all this great stuff along the way, and they look awesome. But let's, you got to win all those in the tournament. Let's when they get to the Final Four. But if you're living in the moment and you can't remember being this excited, right, in the regular season, I'll buy that. Yaks for Player of the Year. Player of the Year of the Big Ten. Yaks let the Naismith slip through his fingers when he didn't come up big in the second half against Boozer and company, and then Boozer made all the plays. Boozer right now, I know nobody wants to hear that, but it's Boozer. This guy calls himself the number one sports fan. Well, he's got a sweet avatar. He says he thinks the difference in the game was the strength and physicality of Morez Johnson Jr. What do you think, Illinois fans? And I thought the difference was Michigan's, I would take it the easy way out and said it was Michigan's front line was the difference in the game. Of course, Morez Johnson Jr. is part of that. MJJ in the first half, Ade Mara in the second half, Yaks the entire time. Sit one, bring another one fresh, play two. You can play all three. You play in two, play one. The other guys are coming in totally, ready to roll.
Overrated.
Whoa.
Pretty boy. A bitch.
That was the wrong button. That's the one. Yeah, I would have taken 2 out of those 3 tough road games, but a trifecta in a conference championship is sweet. Yeah, no kidding. Let's go. Used to pray for times like this. Yeah, your prayers have been answered. I am enjoying it now. Here's Hadley. Big Ten title, first in 5 years. So which Beeline team would you compare this to? Trey Burke's second year when they lost to Louisville. Which John Beeline team would I compare them to? Yeah, I don't know. This is such a different team. You get Trey Burke, and then these other teams, Stauskas and Tim Hardaway, right? Am I thinking him through? Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't compare him. I would compare him more to the '89 team. They seem more like that team than any of the Beeline teams. That's it. We're ready for March. Yes, winning the whole thing. That's where I'm at. Roger still wants to go back and talk about the officials in the Duke game. Didn't we beat Illinois in 2014 to clinch it outright? I remember Nick Stauskas lighting them up. You could be right about that. The thing I would say about the officials, there's going to be officials in the tournament. I know, and there's going to be bad calls. There's going to be a lot of the further you go, the spotlight is bigger, and everybody's going to be clenching their fists and screaming at the refs even more. That experience of dealing with the officials and the zebras and bad calls, there's going to be a bunch, and you got to overcome it. You got to play through it, and the fans will all be freaking out, but these guys got to hang in there. You'd like to take them out. Tonight. Tonight you didn't have anything to complain about the ref. Who cares what the refs called? Took the refs out of play. You can't always do that, but that was another part where it was. That was another part that's a great experience for him. Let's see. Jay says these NBA, NHL arenas are different. So I'm glad we got that experience because we saw how it affects shooting. Well, you get to the Final Four. I mean, they're not playing at, I don't think, I think they're playing where Lucas Oil for the Final Four. That's where it's really different. And I don't think it's all that different, the NBA and the NHL arenas, to tell you the truth, when it comes down to that, or orange balls. I mean, we're fans and we're looking for all these little things, and in the officials, those things are factors. But it definitely is a factor when you get into and you're playing at Lucas Oil. The place holds, 70,000, and, you got to look at the backdrops there. BK says Michigan cannot let other teams play slow tempo. Playing quick and causing opponents D to be out of position is USM style, quick and physical. Yes, Michigan ranks. They are the number one team by far in the Big Ten in terms of possessions through 100, and they're one of the top 20 teams. I don't know, it was like 300 or 400 teams, 300 something. And out of all of them, if you look at the Power Fours, I don't know, Michigan, they're in the top 5 with their quick pace. So it's to your point. They do play at a quick pace. U of M hockey won too. Yes, senior night. And Michigan doubled up Minnesota. That's nice. Now it's on. They're ready. It's Big Ten tournament time. Oh, boy. I'm ready for that. Rest LJ. Well, we don't. Well, you say it right here, Mr. Dune E. Don. You're talking about, rest him for the Iowa game. If he's good to go, play him in the Iowa game. But, let's find out what the injury is and if he's going to be okay. They've got games to play with, and, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I guess we had too much class to cut down the nets. I don't think it's classless. I mean, when you win the Big Ten title outright, you cut down the nets. There's nothing classless about doing that, or on the road or anything. I think that I heard Dusty talking about it on Monday. And the one thing is, it's great for the players, great for the coaches, it's great for the, the support staff that's at the game. But to be able to do it at home, then you can roll everyone out. And so maybe this is a carrot from Dusty saying, we'll do all of that against Michigan State. I know that they're honoring their seniors. Everyone does, but I think they used to do it before the game. And they said they're going to do it after the game, a week from Sunday. So Wouldn't that be a nice post game? Honor the seniors, cut down the nets. You could bring everyone out. Bring the Maze Rage out. Couple key season ticket holders. Get them up on the ladder. Let's do it. But I don't think it's classless to cut down the nets. It's fine. Mara was a beast. Oh, well, he's pretty good. We would have never won in '89 if not for Bo sacking Frieder before the tourney. I agree with that. Frieder was strung a little bit too tight. Yes, the jam would have been a nice punctuation part at the end. Quit saying hard on. Am I saying hard on? I don't know what context. Whatever it is, Simon, I can tell you this, that when it comes to innuendos or any of the things I've said, I know people giggle and laugh, and I like to have a sense of humor myself, but I don't give a crap. If I say something that somebody thinks, ooh, well, he talked about really tapping him on the back or something there, and if it freaks you out, I don't care. I mean, I don't like it to freak you out. I don't try to throw innuendos out there, but I'm also not worried about too much of what I'm saying there. There was a part I used to do women's basketball, and I thought that I had to be careful saying, oh, look at that player. She's really looking good tonight or something like that. And the coach came up, I was talking with, and one of the coaches came up and said, don't worry about that. We're out here balling. Call the game. And so that's what I would do. Get her down low and take her out. She's looking good. Back her down. Put some body on her. Some people might be listening and saying, man, you crossing the line there. I'm not crossing any lines. I'm calling it, man. Get a little older, man. Say what you mean. I don't mean it. I'm not trying to give you a hard on, Simon. I guess I appreciate you pointing it out. Because if we got to the end and somebody said, well, you said hard on 5 or 6 times, I'd say, really? I don't even remember saying it. Yeah, McKinney's awesome. Gale's defense is worth it. He did take a bad 3. I don't know. Well, Gale, I've said it a million times. You can't have co-players. You got to pick one. That's the thing. Sambo. I don't play ties. You got to pick one. It is a party. Now it's a party with not Ripstar here. He's partying. That's what has. A day's best day of the season. That's it. Let's see. Well, I guess we could just take these all night. I'm all right with that. I don't think Gale should ever consider shooting or driving. He can pass it, but he shouldn't be an option for us to score. Yeah, I think that's a little bit. That's a little bit. It reminds me of my playing days. I had a coach. I don't remember how many days, how many games it was in a season, but he came up to me and he said, you can't shoot 3-pointers anymore. What? Talk about your confidence. No 3-pointers. I was shooting 2. I wasn't making any, probably to his point. Don't shoot any more 3. Guess what? I was the shooting guard on the team. Shooting guard, don't shoot 3s. And it just so happened that the very next game, it came down to a 3 with no time left on the clock. And guess who the ball went to? You're right. And I made it. And I thought it was a big deal afterwards. And I said, Coach, I had the ball. And I thought, it would have been a great moment for him to put his arm around me and show some confidence and everything. I said, the ball went to me and, I shot it. I said, yeah, coach, I remember you said, don't shoot any more threes. And instead of him saying, that's all right, that'll get you going, he said, Santa Claus could have shot that three. Oh, thanks. Thanks for the boost. Thanks for the confidence boost. Coach. Winners win. Oh, it feels like, I know watch out. They're going to blow the cartel up. They blew up the leader of the cartel who was driving around the Coke Classic, all those sugarcane Coke in that big semi, and the FBI blew it sky high. That's it. Man. Let's get down here to the end. People talking about it being a good sports day. That's what else are we talking about? Morez's ability to defend the perimeter and switch really messed up their offense. That, along with the revenge story, his usual rebounding and inside player of the game from Rob. It's falling apart here, I think, a little bit. Barkley should stop shooting. I'm sorry, Barkley. Gale should stop shooting. Somebody's talking about Barkley. Somebody's watching Barkley. What's the point of Barkley here? Barkley must be on Ozempic. He looks horrible, skin and bones. I think Barkley's on some sort of GP, what do they call it? GLP-1, but he's getting paid for it. I don't think it's Ozempic. There's a commercial. I know he's on a million commercials, but the one he's got a big bag of golf balls and it goes all over the place. So whatever. He is a lot skinnier, but you don't like. Some people look better fat. Let's look at or overweight. I don't know. He's not the round mound of rebound anymore. Michigan was ranked number 1. We know they fell to 3 after losing to Duke, and they were the number 1 Ken Pom team, but Duke took over that too. So Michigan's number 2 Ken Pom. The number 1 offensive rated team in the country heading into tonight's play was Illinois. And obviously Michigan scoring 14 more points than the number 1 offensive team in the country. And then Michigan, they played great defensively. Maybe they'll recapture. Duke slammed Notre Dame to move up in those particular ones. The net rankings, Duke is number 1. Michigan's number 2. Arizona, Illinois. To think about Illinois, they are ranked number 10. They were at home. They were the 4th ranked team in the net, and they were also the number 4 Ken Pom team. So that was no slouch that Michigan went into Champaign and put the big smackdown on. It makes it that much more impressive. Let's check the upcoming schedule. It's brought to you by the Maize and Blue Review. Why not give yourself or that U of M fan in your life the gift of the Maize and Blue Review? Yeah, why not? I'm asking you. You like Michigan? You want to talk Michigan? You want to see everything Michigan, recruiting? You want to know everything about basketball, football, and hockey? You take it to the next level. I guarantee. That's where I do all of my writing on the Maize and Blue Review, interacting with the fans and the people. Get on over there. I guarantee it again. 2 guarantees that you will love it. Go to on3.com and hit that subscribe button. Let's go. Here's the schedule and how it looks. We'll be able to put that. We'll have to raise the W up at that one at Illinois. This last page of Michigan's 25/26 season. Here it is down the stretch run, another dub. And now they turn the page to March at Iowa this Thursday, and then against Michigan State, the season finale, a game that I'm going to attend. That's the plan right now. So we can't wait for that. All right. So, okay. The producer is saying we're going to talk about LJ Kaysen again. So, yeah, LJ Kaysen, for those that did not watch the game, he comes in. Elliot Cadeau got in some foul trouble. Kaysen comes in and he cranks up a three, splash. He's down the lane driving. I mean, it's vintage LJ Kaysen. It might be what you just expect from LJ Kaysen right now. Raph said, this kid scored 25 a game in high school, and he's on a heater. His trajectory is up. I mean, you've heard people say, oh, he's the best backup point guard in the country. Michigan fans want to see him more. Every game he's proven it. He's fantastic, and tonight was no different. He looked awesome. Then there was a play where they throw it up ahead, and he had it, and he bounced it between his legs backwards to, I think, Yaks. And I don't remember what happened on the play, but Kaysen came up hurt. And so when you throw the ball between your legs, his legs were kind of bow-legged or split there. And you could say, you looked at it, they showed the replay a few times. You could have been an ankle, could have been a knee, could have been a hammy. I mean, no contact, you think the worst. I mean, those are Achilles, all of those. I don't know, the worst ones to your mind. I don't know. Yes, probably. He goes over and he's got a hitch in his giddy up. And he looks like he's about 90 years old, getting over to the sideline. He's hurt. He takes a seat and then, oh no, he's limping off to the locker room. So you're saying, hopefully it's just a cramp. That's what I said. And then they come out in the second half. I was scanning over there and I didn't see him. And then we're talking about that now. Let's see if I can get an update. You know who's pretty good is I don't knock him. It's Mr. Ripstar, not Ripstar. He's always giving me the updates on everything else, but I can check. Let's see what it says here. Let's search LJ Kaysen. They're calling it a knee. There's somebody. That's just the search thing. Here it is. Dusty May says he doesn't have any updates on LJ Kaysen. Said he asked him several times if he was sure he could play. Then after retweaking it, that wasn't worth it, regardless of the outcome, to keep him in there. So there's your latest on Kaysen. Limped off. Apparent ankle leg injury. This is what walked under. No official update on the severity. Yeah, that's it. That was the one. Dusty said he did not have an update. So there you go. Manny, we can make this happen. Let's make it happen at the Michigan State game. So, yeah, I did not see him stepping on a guy's foot. I thought it was a non-contact injury, but a lot of people thought it was an ankle too. So you could be 100% right. I don't know. You hope for an ankle over a knee, but you hope for a cramp over an ankle. You don't like hammies. You don't like knees. Obviously, you don't like Achilles. I mean, those are season enders, those kind of things. But I would say this is not correct. The one thing about Roddy is he had a 26-point masterpiece in the second round of the NCAA tournament last year, and he was pretty good in the first half. The thing about Samaj is that he had the yips, and that's not good. It's not good in golf. It's not good in baseball. It's not good in football. And I don't think that's it with Roddy. I think he's just too sped up, and he's a real streaky player. He can be an asset for this team. I would not say that at all about Gale. All right, I lost my train of thought. No, I didn't. So yeah, he comes back in talking about LJ Kaysen, and that was great news. He comes and checks in, but he re-aggravates whatever he had that he was dealing with that he tried to fight through. Like I said, I thought that was positive that he came back, because if it is an ankle, sometimes you get the adrenaline, you go out, but then you tape it up and you're going to go give it a go. That's exactly what it looks like, but I don't know. Like I said, it could be a hammy, could be a knee, could be an ankle, could be a cramp. So that's it. And Dusty didn't have an update. And so we will find out the next time, I would think, on Monday. Monday, when Dusty talks to the media. And we'll see what he has to say there. Probably will find out if he's practiced. Could be just good to go for the game on Thursday. One thing we know, Michigan is the outright Big Ten champs. Get that shirt. I don't know if it's a funny story, but I was tell it anyways. Back in 2021, you're coming out of the pandemic, and Michigan basketball that season, I loved it. I like Michigan basketball every year, but I was treating each and every game like it was a Super Bowl. I mean, that's how into it I was. And, they got to the end. They actually did a pretty good job of the tournament, almost made it to the Final Four and all that. But I loved the season. It was so entertaining. I like this one more. But my funny part about that is my wife, once in a while, she'll buy some Michigan paraphernalia. And she bought a sweet long sleeve Michigan 2021 Big Ten champ shirt. Pretty nice. And I went to put it on, and it was a little tight. Tight enough where it was a little too tight. But what do you say when you get a tight shirt like that? You say, in a month or two, I'm trying to lose weight. It'll look pretty good. Long story short is that it went the other way. I got a little bit bigger, unfortunately, and that thing stayed in the closet. I put it on the other day, and I thought, hey, this thing's wearable now. It's got a little room in there. So I don't know if that's funny or whatever, but it'd be nice if I could just take that 2021. So maybe I just with a marker, I'll just make a little loop on the one. Is that gonna work? One, yeah. 2026. So it's brand new. I don't know if it's been washed once or twice. I'll have to break it out. The 2021, but now 2026 Big Ten regular season champs. I'm gonna go do that right now. See how it looks. All right. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you over on the Maize and Blue review. We're going to be talking about Michigan all day, all night, over this weekend. I'll get you those Kaysen updates. We'll be talking football, hockey next week, the Big Ten tournament. There's nothing better than postseason hockey. Michigan's right in the thick of things. They got a team that can win it all. So all of it's in play. Thank you. Pizza's on me. And we'll talk with you again on Monday. Michigan's the Big Ten champ. Let's do it. See you over on the Maize and Blue review. Oh, next week. I am so encouraged by everything. I think maybe I need to get out and maybe get some shots up. Whoa! See how that goes. Been a while. Get that Mara hook shot going. Maybe. I like push somebody out of the way, kind of cup it in there, go up. It's the game now. How about that one dude that from Croatia? He's out there at the 3-point line, and then he drives like he's going for a layup, and it's just sort of a jump shot. Like, what? Come on. That's got to be a travel. Oh, no, it's a Euro. And then what's his name? Their point guard. He had some Euro where he looked like, Euro a lot of times just looks like you're taking 5 steps, to be honest.